All right, what's happening, everybody? It's your boy Kenneth Sean, aka Mr. Built versus Bought, aka KSDNOTCH. And let me tell you all something. I'm thrilled to be here today. We're gonna talk a little bit about my journey, but also the car that I own. So I got a 1993 Ford Mustang notchback, aka at KSDNOTCH. They only made 10,000 of them in 93. That was black on black. It's got a lot of mods to it. Terminator swap from a 04 Cobra. Whipple Gen 5 3.0 supercharger, currently having 740 to the rear tires. With a 2,900-pound car. A lot of mods from interior, exterior, paint, whatever. It's a lot of mods on it right now, and so man, it's been a long journey and a long build, and man, I'm just grateful to be able to kind of tell you all about it today. So my love and passion for cars, man, started from the time I can remember. First words that actually came out of my mouth, the first words that my parents will remember was car. That was the first word that came out of my mouth. And it's more so, it's probably inspired by my old man, my father. Like like I said, I grew up on the south side of Chicago, and he was one of them dudes that was known for all the cars he had. I mean, this dude had, for lack of better words, this man had 16 cars at one time. And I'm not talking about 16 cars sitting outside, just rusting. I'm talking about 16 classic vehicles, but we stayed on the south side. It was crazy. That's where all of his stuff went to, was some cars. And man, I grew up in that warehouse with all of those cars. And I mean, he had a little bit of everything, from every Lincoln from 1942 to 1984, every Mark, from Mark 1 to Mark 7, 68 Corvette, 57 Ford Thunderbird. He had the suicide doors, Kennedy Lincoln. Now, all these cars wasn't fully, restored, but he had them. He had them sitting there. When I went on prom, I took a 57 Ford Thunderbird. It's actually one of my favorite cars. But I mean, he just had a lot of them, and he was a Ford and Chevy guy, but he had more Fords than he had Chevy. So I was born in '82. In 1993, there was a movie that we all kind of familiar with called Menace to Society. And it kind of introduced me to the Mustang that I love today. Came pulling up in that 90, whatever it was, GT convertible, green and gray, and he put the Daytons on that joint. He stole it from the dude and put the Daytons on his. And ever since that day, from 1993 up until now, 2025, man, I haven't stopped loving it, So I knew when I turned 16, that was the car that I wanted. Obviously, the problem was I ain't had the money to get it. So my old man had an '84 Lincoln Mark 7. And for you all that don't know, that's technically considered a Fox Body. It's on the Fox Body platform of Ford from 79 to 93, and technically 79 to 04 is a Fox platform. And the '84 Lincoln Mark 7 has the same setup as that Ford Mustang. And so I got that car. It was the first car I got, and it was probably the worst vehicle ever. I mean, like, y'all talk about air ride suspension that used to lean. I used to be riding down the street car like this, and you think it's cool until that tire rubbing on the inside. It had spoke wide wheels, red interior, all white, rust, everything you could think of. But it kind of started from there. But then when I turned 17, I kind of transitioned and bought my first one. I mean, I got a 91 GT hatchback for like $4,900. And man, back then, that was a lot of money to me, man. Like, that was the first thing. He actually financed it through him, but I was paying the note, so I had to get a job real quick. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna lie to y'all, his credit was terrible. I was paying $500 a month for a $5,000 car, bro. Man, I graduated high school, and man, I was like, yo, this car's too slow. We gotta do something to it. So, man, buddy of mine, shout out to my man Darius, one of my closest friends to this day. Man, he always helped me from back then up until now. Man, we started taking that motor apart, and back then you was doing something if you got some trick flow head, cam, intake, you took the AC off, you really thought you was doing something. That AC just made it hot outside. You did not gain no horsepower by taking that AC off. We just started working on it in the garage, but I learned everything the hard way. I'm gonna say it to this camera again. I learned everything the hard way. Next thing I know, I got a cam in the car. We got the heads, everything going, and you couldn't tell me nothing, man. We started that daggone car, but all you heard was punk. Push the cam bearing back, blew up that whole motor. Heavy into the cars, man. Like, that was my thing. Like, I could play basketball a little bit, but I wasn't good enough to be on no team. So the car thing was just what I was always gifted in, and kind of like doing that. After that GT, shout out to my man Darius again. He used to work at a place called Brad Manning Ford. The guy that worked there that saw my car, I had the car tore down, and this was my introduction to what we call the coupe, AKA the notchback. He had a notchback that was terribly painted at the time, but I thought it was cool. I wanted that coupe because when I had that GT hatchback, it was cool, but you could tell it all had us a little bit on the heavier side. And then when I crossed over to the street racing side of this, everybody that was going fast had coupes. So he made me a deal I couldn't refuse. He took my car and it was an even swap. I went from having that one to then having like two more right after that. And man, but it also got me into starting to working on the car, and then now me learning how to really make this thing faster. And so I was hands-on with it. I had to learn the hard way. Like, nobody actually really, like, even my old man never taught me. He just kind of like, I just watched. And then you just gotta like kind of figure it out along the way and ask questions. So I started crossing over to that street racing side, man. And I'm gonna be honest with you, that was the start of the gift and the curse.
Yeah, man, you think we can give it a little bit of gas?
A little bit?
Yeah.
It's all about what you a little.
Let's see what it do.
You sure you want to see what it do?
Yeah.
Cool.
Now I had it was a 93. It was a red one, but it was a 93. It was painted and it was clean, man. And back then, that's when that racing stuff started to happen for me. Like I said, I kind of talked to you all about saying that was the beginning of the gift and the curse. I used to be the guy in that scene that, you know, everybody knew and didn't know. So these guys over here knew that, hey man, that's the guy that could drive. But I had never been down the track. All I ever knew was street racing. And one day, man, they pulled that same move they always used to pull with me. They was like, hey, we want to race, but we gonna have this dude race you. These guys didn't know it, so they thinking it's sweet. So I'm just the only black guy in the crew. So they thinking, hey, this dude don't know where. I'm like, oh yeah, we gonna race him? Cool. The dude comes up and was like, all right, man, but I want 10 cars in the hit. I was like, bruh, you want what? He's like, yeah, man, I'm gonna need 10 cars in the hit. I said, bro, we argued for 20 minutes. I was like, man, ain't no way I'm about to get you 10 cars and the hit. I'm like, you wanna start a block down the track before I even get to you? And man, we was arguing. It was just a big old argument back and forth. And I'll never forget, to this day, I will never forget what my man Eddie said. Now, it was his car. I did not know what I was dealing with. He said, give him the 10 cars. And he said it just like this. He turned his face. He was like, give him the 10 cars, still to hit. Man, all I remember was dude's arm going up on the left side. And when his arm went down, man, I launched that car like 5,000. Man, that front end was up in the air. And by the time I hit second gear, I was past, buddy. The whole time down the track, I am screaming because I had never in my life felt something that fast. And the fact that I didn't crash it, I was like, yeah, I'm addicted. And so, like I said, it was the beginning of the gift and the curse. And one day, everything changed. I got it. I went to high school with who I was very close with. He used to beat me all the time. He had a 93 Cobra. He used to beat me all the time. Everybody was like, man, let's go street racing. And so I already know what that means. That means, hey, we're gonna have Ken drive somebody's car. And this was the night where we set up the race and I drove somebody else's car. So on the first one, took off, slicks, front runners, notchback. Man, I beat him by 3 cars. He wants to run again because this is the first time I beat him. Man, but on this run, this was when, like I said, the curse came in. So I always had this fear when I was street racing. I was like, I always want to stay on the lane where the least likely thing could happen. And like oncoming traffic, whatever you want to call it, I want to be in the lane where oncoming traffic couldn't come. So I always was in that right. And this time I went, I was gone. I remember looking up. I remember looking down at the gauge. It said a speed limit that I won't say on this camera. And the next thing I looked up, smack dead into a geo tracker and drug it a half a block. And you know, I will be honest, it was probably one of the worst days of my life. There was an old lady driving it. Man, there was people that saw it. Next thing I know, police pulling up. People was trying to say what happened. They can't prove what happened, but it was people out, it was witnesses out there saying what I was doing, etc. And man, it was the first time, man, I actually, you know, I went to jail for that. You know, the first time I ever even saw jail. But really disturbed me more, and I gotta kind of go back to what I said earlier. I had a CDL. I was driving. My money was dependent upon my CDL while I was in college. I wasn't an average college student. So the curse also was because the dude that I had been racing for years, who I also went to high school with, I ain't seen him since that day. That was the last day that I have seen him, and that happened 22 years ago. Because part of the reason why I couldn't get out of that situation was because you gotta choose, either you gonna swerve or you just gonna crash. If I would've swerved, I had 2 other people in the car with me. I would've killed them all with front runners on the car. I only had one option, and that was to slam into the car. And you gotta understand, it was in an instance of a second that all of that happened. And man, after that, my life just changed. And I'm gonna be honest with you, that's when everything went downhill from there. Man, that was my introduction to meeting God, because it was that time where I actually could have lost everything, my life and all of that. And man, I decided from that day, I remember going to church that day. What was being preached that day was speaking to me, because it was talking about almost. And I kept thinking about how I almost lost my life that day. I lost my license, and that's what it is, but it was the fact that I almost died because I didn't even have a seatbelt on when I was doing that. And so that was that whole transition of, man, you know, me accepting like, yo, I made this mistake, and you know, and this is the cost of it, you know. And so from that day, I jumped out of the street racing scene. But the other side of it was, when I say it was downhill from there, even though I got closer to God and established a relationship with God and started getting active in all of that, reading the Bible, all that, it did not change the fact that I still had the circumstances that I had to deal with and the consequences of my actions. That was like the turning point of, man, I had got out of the scene, and I stopped for like 13 years. And man, to this day, I have not been in another accident. I ain't got a speeding ticket. I ain't even got a parking ticket since 2003. I don't even need to knock on wood. I just trust God. But so how do we get to the Fox Body, the notchback that I got today? But what led to this was, man, I went through a bad divorce. I recognized that one of the things that I didn't have in that scenario was the car. I recognized that I didn't have a hobby that whole time. You know, I was a minister at that time. I was heavily focused in ministry, and, you know, I was married and all that stuff. But then I also was diagnosed with epilepsy as well. And they found a tumor on my brain. And, you know, when you start hearing words like tumor on your brain and stuff like that, you really start to consider like, man, what am I doing in life, period? Like, and I recognized that, man, the majority of my life has been lived for everybody else, and me doing everything for everybody else. And I ain't did nothing for me, period. So when I was diagnosed with that, I literally, man, right after that was, I had to get brain surgery. And they went in and removed the tumor. Because of the location of the tumor, it was here in my brain, so they was able to go through my nose instead of cutting my head open. And so they went through my nose, removed the tumor, but the epilepsy never left. So for anybody that don't know what that is, it's when you have, you have seizures. And man, just out of nowhere, I just started having seizures, you know, and that changed my life, man, forever. And then right after that was when, like, during that time was when that marriage went left, for real. I was sick. I was literally sick. There was just things that I just couldn't do no more. They took my license again because when you have seizures, they gotta put you on some medication that's gonna work so that you don't have seizures. And so I had to go through that process of figuring out what medication to work. If you have a seizure, they start it back over another 6 months. It's not like 6 months. You gotta be seizure free for 6 months. So they put you on a medication. If you have a seizure, you gotta start back over, because anytime you report it to the doctor, they're gonna start it over. And yeah, so I got put on the meds, and then you know, the medication messed my life up. Like, I never thought, like, when you think about depression for real, when there's medication that can literally make you depressed for no reason at all. It is a feeling that'll come over you and you don't even know it. That depression hit, like, for real. And man, I ain't had no outlet, you know, and as much as I trusted God, loved God and all that, you know, man, I needed to do something for myself. So when my marriage was over, I said, man, I need to get back to doing something that I like doing. And the only thing that I really ever liked doing that heavy is this stuff right here.
That was just third. I could have put it in second, and we was already up there.
So back in 2016, now I'm looking, right? And I'm like, you know what? I always wanted a 93 black on black notchback. I just started looking, man. I started looking, and I found this one. And at that time, okay, it was supposed to have been an original 40,000 mile vehicle with the original motor and all that stuff. And I think it was 18,000 back then. Now, you gotta understand, this was 2016. This was before the hype of these cars. These cars wasn't at the hype that like they are now. And I think this thing was 19,000. I was like, man, that's high. I'm used to paying $4,000 for those joints. Like, and I've been out the scene for a minute, but it was 19 but it was like 40,000 miles. And man, I went and got it. And it was one of the best feelings ever. And man, I'm driving it. And then right after I got it, guess what? It was time to start working on it. Not because I wanted to, but because stuff just started breaking on the car. Clutch went out first. Man, I had that car 2 weeks, clutch gone. Stuff everywhere. We pulled the trans out, stuff is everywhere. So that's what started the build process and me getting back into this whole Fox Body scene. I was single again. So like now I'm like, hey man, I'm getting back into this, but I just wasn't gonna get back into street racing, but I knew I wanted this car. This was my dream car. I ended up picking it up. I would say the car pulled me out the slump, but then, you know, I'm always gonna say God first, but then like him kind of lead me to like, hey, you need something else to do, you know, to get your mind off of all the other stuff that you got going on, you know. The car was the thing that kept me, man, in the crib, kept me grounded. The motivation to like really go in and just change it to what it was. I had started off by just doing an on-3. So in the Fox Body world, you do an on-3 turbo kit on a stock motor, you can get about 500. And that sounded cool. I always wanted that Terminator motor. Like I've been he's had it since 04. So my man's had an 04 Terminator motor sitting in his garage since 2004. And it's 2018 now. And he wants to put his together. Now in the 2018 year, the Coyotes are like getting hot in Fox Bodies. Shout out to Foxcast Media and shout out to my man PCP Allen. They were kind of like the first guys on YouTube that was like showing people how to Coyote swap Fox Bodies. And I'm seeing like everybody's picking up Coyote swaps. And I'm like, all right, Coyote swaps are the trend. I don't want to follow the trend. I want to set one. So from there, Man, I ended up talking to my buddy, and he was like, man, he wanted a Coyote. He don't care about none of that. He was like, I just want a Coyote. I just want a reliable motor in the car. I said, cool. I ended up finding a Gen 2 Coyote motor with 19,000 miles on it, man. And the dude was like, he needed to sell it fast. And I was like, okay. I went up, got that motor, put up to my buddy's house with a Coyote. He was like, looking like, you for real? I was like, you said if you get this motor, you give me yours. Run me that. Literally, he was laughing like, now I want to make this clear. This Coyote motor was super clean. I mean, like, it looked like it was brand new. But that Terminator motor has been sitting there for 15 years. I'm talking about, bro, it had all type of stuff. I mean, in the headers, bro, I think it had like rat poop, all type of stuff. The headers was rusted, all this. That motor looked horrible. But we swapped it. First thing I did was took it home. And man, I started taking everything apart, man. I knew that I didn't want the stock Eaton supercharger on it. That just wasn't gonna happen. So I had a 2.3 Whipple that I ended up purchasing. I think I got it off of, I don't know if it was Marketplace at the time. I don't know if they had a Marketplace back then, but let's just say I found a 2.3 Whipple. And we started taking everything off that motor, started cleaning it up, powder coating everything that I could at the time, and started putting that motor together. Then in the interim, now it's time to strip everything out the Fox body now. And shout out to all my friends. It's a gang of them. It's a list of them. And shout out to my man Filet Tamba and Saul Castaneda. We started documenting the build on a channel called MCSC Green Wheels. And that's where it all started, man. We literally pulled everything out for the most part in my garage. Then I shipped the car off to get painted. That was a whole horror story. And we ended up putting the motor in at the shop where it was getting painted at. And this was before the Holly stuff and all of that. I had a Ron Francis wiring kit, and we literally tried to start that thing up right there. And, you know, that kind of started that journey. And to be honest with you, there was no information about Terminator swaps in the Fox body, so I had to learn everything the hard way. So a lot of stuff I had to do it like not only just once, but like 3 or 4 times, because like I said, the Coyote swaps had all the information. The Terminator swaps didn't. I didn't know that, man, you got to cut the sway bar mounts in order to get the motor in, and you can only get it in from the bottom. Car just got painted. We're at the shop now. You know what I mean? Like, he has to cut them, but he can't repaint it. Like, in the moment, because I got 5 people here from my side of the city. We 4 hours away. It was just like, oh my God, like, let's just get this thing in here. And so it kind of started from there, and then, you know, bringing it back to the crib and kind of doing the rest. Man, I'll leave this on the table, man. This car stuff is cool, right? But the people are cooler. People are more important to me. The car has opened up doors that I never would have thought. What I want to leave with people is, number one, I thought the car, man, I'm gonna be, man, I put a lot of energy and effort into this car and that build for those years. But now I'm remarried, and I start to see that it's taken away from my current household, and now I got a daughter, and I'm in the garage all the time trying to do this. And so when I was single, yeah, that was cool, but the reality was that, what to be frank with you, God had to show me, like, man, I gave you that, but everything got to revolve around me. And so I just, man, redirected my focus back on God, and then I learned how to slow down, man. I just want to leave it on the table that, hey, take your time. You know, it's stuff that ain't perfect about my car now, you know, and it's stuff that even in my mind, I'm like, doing this interview, you know, I wonder if they're going to see this, and I wonder if they're going to see that. But man, I'm getting into this mindset of, I mean, Wade just told me, he was like, man, you don't need to repaint this car. I was like, you're right, bro. Let me chill out. The reality is that this thing, or this sport that you love so much, I get more joy out of the people and meeting these good people around the world, because the car been around the world. Car's won every trophy you could think of at this point, but it's the people that I met along the way. It's the people like Cam. It's the people like Wade. It's the people that I met in the Fox Body community. It's the people that I'm meeting locally. I'm new to Georgia. I've only been here 4 years, you know, and now I'm meeting people that's allowing me to do stuff I never would even had the opportunity to do in Chicago. And so the reality is that the thing I want to leave on the table is that you can be good. You need to know what you're doing. If you got a shop working on it, you need to know what they're doing as well, because, hey, man, it's some ruthless people out here that'll have you thinking they did something to your car. And if you don't know how to do it yourself, I'm telling you, they'll have you out here stuck on the side of the road. I done had a couple of shops get over on me. But because I know how to do this stuff, I know what's wrong. I can dissect through it. Or if I'm taking it to somebody to do it, I can double check some of their work as well. I just don't have the time no more. But what I want to leave on the table is that, man, at the end of the day, man, trust God, don't trust your car. Because I'm telling you right now, like that car, you know, it ain't gonna always be there, but he will. And so, man, that's the thing I want to leave to everybody. Like, that's what's got me to this point, and it's got me to a point of peace. My last thing is that, hey, man, I just got baptized yesterday. As a person that was really living for God, like, I just got baptized yesterday, and that's something that I want to leave on the table, because from that previous divorce or whatever, man, I was living reckless. And then when I got married again, man, I just wasn't trusting God like that. So the only point I want to make to anybody in this whole interview is that this car stuff is cool. I got a creativity gift, but the reality is that this is a gift that God has given me. And so I just want to honor him in all of it. So first off, I want to say thank you to my wife for dealing with me all these years with this stuff. You know, like, I know it ain't been the easiest journey, but you get to see some of the fruits of what's happening, like even this interview right now. Like, but you are definitely, you know, the greatest person I ever met. And, you know, this wouldn't even be possible without you. I know I done put you through hell with it, but I'm grateful that you have allowed for me to do this. And my daughter as well. Shout out to my daughter. I hope that when you see this, when you get older, you know, I never even told you that this car was fast or slow or whatever. But one of the joys that I get is when she comes out and she's like, "Oh, is that Daddy's fast car?" I was like, "Who told me it was fast?" You know. But shout out to her. Shout out to my best friend Darius as well. He been through me with the thick and thin, from the accident into this. Shout out to him. Shout out to my man Eddie, Mario, George, the whole crew. Shout out to everybody in the Fox Body community. It's too many of you all to name. And just like I said, shout out to everybody that's trying to build. Shout out to all the young cats that's out here that's trying to make it happen as well. You know, like, for real. But for the most part, I'll be a list all day. But if I miss you, just know, shout out to my head, not my heart. But man, you know, thank you to everybody, every shop that helped me along the way, every person. Oh, and shout out, I gotta do this one, my bad. Shout out to everybody who believed in me when I started my own channel. I want to thank whoever it was at Whipple that gave me a discount when that Supercharger first came out, when that Gen 5 first came out. Man, I didn't even have a big channel, so shout out to Whipple. Right now, shout out to UPR. They are the first official mega vendor that allowed for me to be, you know, one of their, you know, influencer, spokesperson, whatever you want to call it. I got some more changes coming. Shout out to them. Shout out to Fiddlefar Fabrication. Shout out to Classic LEDs. Shout out to 504 Speed. Shout out to Handling Motorsports. All the people that kind of helped me along the way in this build. Like, shout out to you all. You all have made this car great and made my channel great. So if you want to see more about the build, make sure you follow me at KSDNOTCH on Instagram, at Built vs. Bought on Instagram, but the YouTube channel at Built vs. Bought. But then if you want to follow my personal page, I may give you a little inspiration. It's your boy Kenneth Sean at KENETHSEAN. And to everybody that follows the channel, y'all may not know what that is, but if you come on the channel, you'll know what it is. It's your boy Kenneth Sean with Built vs. Bought. Shout out to Cam, shout out to Wade, and man, make sure y'all check me out. I'm out.